Hello and welcome to HiveState Bakugan. It's finally time to go ahead and start the Age of Aurelus set review. We are, of course, starting with Aquos as we do. And, well, the first card is Aques Breath. No, like this, it's a six energy action for 9 damage. I am not a fan. Aques Breath is the next card. 3 energy for this one. Give you plus 200B for 3, so that's not great. But you're also getting to draw 2 cards, which, in my opinion, 100% validates this. Especially if you use it with some of the other Aquos cards that can, like, make it to where you're playing a card and doubling the effect. So paying 3 to draw 4 cards is fantastic. So I can see this having its place in the right spots and decks and stuff. Clone Army's next. 2 energy for this one. And it's draw a card, so it replaces itself, not bad. And you get plus 1 Frost Strike for every other card you've played this turn. I feel like this could be okay in heavy card playing decks, because some of the games I've played in the past with, I don't remember the name of the card, it's the one that jumps up damage for 2 for every other card you've played this turn. And I've been able to get that one to give me like 12 extra damage just right off the top. So it has a chance. If you paid 2 for like 6 Frost Strike, that's not bad. But I don't know, it feels a little situational for me. So Elemental Storm, this one's an 8 cost, and it has Aurelus Power. Aurelus Power is one of the new mechanics in this set. Basically, if you have an Aurelus on your team, it does something different. So this one specifically says it costs 2 less energy to play. So instead of paying 8 energy to draw 5 cards, you're paying 6 energy to draw 5 cards. Which, 6 for 5 isn't bad. This wouldn't be a 3 of in any deck, I don't believe. But late game refilling your hand could be pretty decent in some decks. Barrage, 3 energy for this one. Draw a card, and if you trigger flow, you also get 500B. So 3 for 5 isn't the best, but it's just an extra amount of damage when you're drawing a card. Granted, 1 card draw for 3 energy isn't worth it, so you're only going to play this when you have flow, but it's an option. Liquid Darts. This is another 3 drop, 400B power for 3. This is not great. But if you have Aurelus Power, this costs 2 less to play. A 1 drop plus 400 is very good. I can definitely see this being included in decks that are like Aquos, Aurelus, or anything like that, really. Next, we're moving on to Ninja Gear. This card is either trash or fantastic depending on the deck that you're running. One of the decks that I just used in a locals, it was wanting to use this, but I used something else instead. May do a deck profile on that one, not 100% sure. But this card can be fantastic, especially at the 0 drop. Whenever you have a specific attacker that you're really wanting to get through with damage due to, let's say, a victory effect or something like that, you can play this at the end of your turn, retract it before the next turn begins, so you can use it again the next turn and get that victory effect if you win a second time in a row. This can be fantastic. Raging Seas. 4 energy for this one. This one just gives you plus 5 damage, which for 4 energy isn't good. But if you have Aurelus, it's only going to cost you 2. So 2 for 5 is above curve. Include in a deck that has Aurelus, don't in one that doesn't. Although granted, most of the times, you probably don't care to spend 2 energy for 5 extra damage. Maybe? I don't know. Sinkhole. This is a really good card. I personally have found that I like this one, in some occasions, a bit better than the one that cancels an action and lets you play it yourself. Because with this one, it's not only actions, it stops heroes from being played. And if you're facing certain decks, you want to stop the heroes from being played. I like it. Moving into evolutions. After this series is over, I am going to be doing a deep dive into evolutions and what energy to B to damage ratios and all of that. So make sure to subscribe and stick around for that. But we're just going to go through them as they are. Diamond Fade Ninja costs 7 to evolve, so it's kind of expensive. But it has 1800 B power, which is... That's good. And 8 damage, which is also pretty solid. So, could be okay, maybe, for a diamond at least. A Diamond Vice Rocks only costs 3 to evolve, and it makes it to 707, is what it is. Hyperclopter Ultra. This one costs 3 to play down, and it's 800 B for 3. Only 4 damage, but it does something that I really want to see a lot more of. When you play a Darkus or Ventus card, this gets plus 200 B power. I love the concept of one faction using 2 other factions to help boost it. I like this a lot. Keep doing this. Hyper Cubbo. This card is incredibly good. I found that out firsthand. Only 2 to evolve for a 306. The stats aren't too great. The 6 is nice, but the 300 is pretty bad. However, let's say you land on a plus 600 magic shield. Well, it's not only plus 600, you're also getting plus 800. So that's, what, 1700 for a 2-drop? This is crazy good. So fun. Hypercindius. 2 energy for this evolution, 700 B power, and 7 damage. And at the end of the turn, you return the evolution to your hand. It's cheap for really good stats, but it's cheap you have to keep repaying. But then again, in Aquos, that's not fully negative. For 2 energy, you are turning on flow. And if you have cards that make your evolutions cheaper, this is one that actually combos with that. So, I think this card has potential, personally. Next we have Hyper Nobilius Ultra. This is a 3 energy evolution with another new mechanic for this set. This mechanic is called Underdog, and I love it. Underdog is when this opens, if it has a lower B power than the opposing Bakugan, it does a thing. This one specifically gets plus 5 Frost Strike if you start out lower than your opponent. That's awesome. If you play one card that makes you win, that's 5 free frost that your opponent has to fight through. So it has potential. I love the Underdog mechanic. I want to see more. This one has a Victor effect. It's only 2 to evolve it, makes it a 605. And you can retract another open Bakugan when this opens. So that again can be comboed with some of the other cards that you want to keep opening for its Victor and or on-roll effects. Hyper Pyravian Ultra is the next. This is only a 1-drop evolution, so it's super cheap. It is a 604, so the stats are not bad. I mean, you have to pay 1 for that, but But if it's your only open Bakugan, you get plus 3 Frost Strike, which is, I mean, I'm actually not a fan of that. It forces it to be either your first roll or you're doing some cheeky things to close some other things to get this effect, and I'm not a huge fan. Hyper Trino, this one I like. I like this one quite a bit. It's 3 to evolve and you only have 500 B. It's weak, but that's the point. Also, has 8 damage. The damage is not bad. Underdog, when this opens, if it has lower B power than the opponent, which is what I was just talking about, draw 2 cards. With the way Aquos works, that's fine, you're lower. You roll out, you open, you have 2 cards, you probably have the energy to play said 2 cards, and you can bump up to be higher. It's a fun one. Next is Titan Fangzor Ultra. This is a 5-drop Evo, 600 B power and 6 damage, so okay. Victor, you can draw 3 cards. So like the other Aquos Snake, it whenever you play it, you get to draw 3 cards. This one, anytime you win, you get to draw 3 cards. So the turn it comes in doesn't do much for you, but any point past that, this can very much help. Titan Hydranoid will be next. 6 energy for this evolution. It's 1000 B power and 8 damage. Strictly what it is, no effects. Another vanilla card, 5 for Titan Vicerox Ultra. This one's a 906. Titan Webum Ultra, 4 cost evolution, 700 B power, 6 damage, and this one has an Aurelus power effect. So if you have an Aurelus on your team, it only costs 2 to evolve this. A 2-drop 706 isn't too terrible, so it might show a place if you're running it, but I feel, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like this one might have a couple better options. So we're going to be moving on into flip cards. There are a couple types of flip cards that you see in every faction for this set, and I'm okay with that kind of rotation, so everything gets a gist of the same blocking capabilities. This first type is the 2 cost, but it stops 3. We already have a 1 cost that stops 2, but nothing stops Aurelus until now. So this one, well, let me rephrase that. Nothing specifically stops Aurelus. There are the cards that's like stop everything that's not Darkest, per se. And that would stop Aurelus. Aurelus is not Darkest, but nothing specifically stopped Aurelus until now. But you get what I mean. This one is Aurelus, Chaos, and Pyrus. It costs 1 extra energy to add Aurelus into it, but due to that, I think these are better than what we had for one reason alone. This stops the evolution for Aurelus Hydranoid Ultra. So these are possibly playable, depending on how popular that card stays. A Power Roll. This is just the effect one that we got. Retract all Bakugan after this attack. Every one of them. But it doesn't stop the attack. And in my opinion, that one little part right there, the not stopping, makes this a little unplayable. Hidden Treasure. This is another one of the cycles that we'll see. There is a, basically stops only Aurelus, and if you do, it does something. I'm not seeing too many Aurelus being played for these to really stay in most decks. I could see this being sideboarded if sideboarding is a thing, but I'm not super happy with any of them. Spoiler alert, but it's true. This one specifically. Pay 1 to stop Aurelus, and you can draw 2 cards if you do. Great in theory. In execution. Hero. There are 2 heroes in this set for Aquos. We have Shun, 5-drop for him. When you open a Bakugan, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If it's an action, you can copy its effect. I don't like this as much as I should, which it's a good card. Everyone that's talked about it has loved it. I'm just not super overwhelmed with it for some reason. It's like a reverse Dan, but unlike Dan, let's say you have 2 of these, this only reveals the top card and it doesn't play it. It stays there and you can copy it. So it's not like Dan where you can keep flipping through your deck and playing things for free. You just get the top card of your opponent's deck. And you also get to know what your opponent's going to draw. So there is knowledge involved with this, but there's another Shun I like better. Benton Dusk, also a 5-drop hero. This one says +1 damage to your attacks for each hero card you control. Ooh. In the right decks, this can stack quite a bit. One of the decks I've worked on, and I believe I said I was going to do a set review on it and never did because, well, to be blatantly honest, I still haven't finished it. There's some cards I need for it and I just haven't found, but I know I could do proxies and all that. I don't know. It'll get there eventually. But back to Benton. If you have a good bit of heroes, this isn't too bad being played. But then again, I feel like you would need at least 3 other heroes to make this worthwhile. Adding 3 or 4 damage to every single attack will start to add up. I really need to test this one more before I talk about it. So right now I'm going to say could be great. But he's also the note we're ending on. So if you enjoyed this, there's a couple things you need to know. First, I'm running a contest right now. If you missed the last video or you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, because if this channel can reach 1,000 subscribers before the last of this set review is released, I'm going to be giving away a free custom painted Bakugan to one of my subscribers. So make sure to share me around and do all the things you need to do to get that number up there. So subscribe, stick around, do all the things. But whether you do or whether you don't, well, you'll see me when you see me.